I'm going to show you how you can get a 3% mortgage even in a market like we have today. And we're going to get started right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about the Nashville market with real estate and mortgage and things like that, feel free to click the subscribe button, click the bell for notification, and you'll get notified every time our team uploads a new video. I'm Michael and Joshua, Caleb, James David, our team. We get calls from people just like you want to know information about Nashville and what's going on in the real estate market, what's happening with mortgages. And if that's you and you want more information, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we'll help you make your move to the Nashville area. Okay, like I said, 3%. That's unheard of right now. Everybody's talking about rates are going up and up and up. Well, I have some news for something that is definitely something you're going to want to check out. So, most people have never heard of an assumable mortgage. This is a mortgage where a home buyer can purchase a home from a seller and they can assume the mortgage. You heard me right. A home buyer, I'm going to say it again, a home buyer can buy a house from a seller and assume their mortgage. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't for every single mortgage. This is only certain types of mortgages. And then there are some nuances and kind of fine print, if you want to call it fine print, that you have to be aware of. So let's just kind of give you an overview of what that looks like. A 30-year mortgage today is definitely higher than it was during the pandemic times. We had a pandemic housing boom, and during that housing boom, the average rate was right around 3%. So any given mortgage probably stays right around that 3% mark during that pandemic housing boom. Today, right now, mortgage rates are over 7% in many cases, and that's over double what it was during that pandemic housing boom. So, what can sellers look at that maybe they're trying to sell and they just don't know, man, should I sell? What should I do? How can I best market my house? My house, I don't know if it's still worth what it was worth. Well, if you have a FHA, a VA, or a USDA mortgage, let me tell you what those are. That's the Federal Housing Administration, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and the Department of Veterans Affairs. Now, the Department of Veterans Affairs is a little bit different because it only applies to veteran loans and veterans, but those can still be assumed, just to keep this in mind, those can still be assumed by people that are not veterans. That's something that a lot of people don't know, that you can assume it and you don't even have to be a veteran to assume that loan. So if you're a seller and you're looking at, is this a good time to sell? Well, you have a marketing tool in your hands that's very valuable, because the difference between a 3% interest rate and a 7% interest rate is huge. Now you can really offer something special that not a lot of people can offer. So as a seller, you're able to market your property that way as though the mortgage is assumable at that rate. How cool is that? Now, there is one really good nuance that you need to be aware of. Just because you're assuming the mortgage, the buyer does have to bridge the gap between the sales price and the loan amount. Okay. So let's say you have a sales price that's at $500,000 and the loan amount is $450,000. Well, the buyer's going to have to bridge that gap with cash. It's like they're going to have the cash to do that, because somebody has to pay that difference. Now, if you reach out to our team, there are some creative ways that we can help in that process as well. You just have to be aware that it's not just all fun and games. Oh, let's assume the mortgage and we get the lower rate. There are some nuances that we have to walk through. There's another key piece of information that you also need to be aware of, and that is if you're in an FHA mortgage and you have private mortgage insurance, or in a USDA and you have private mortgage insurance, you do have to keep paying the private mortgage insurance. So that's kind of a downside, but the downside of that versus 3% versus 7%, it could be huge in savings for you. So here's the best advice that I could probably give you if you're looking at, is this a possibility? Do the math. See if the math works. See if it makes sense for you to save that kind of money doing an assumable mortgage. If you don't know how to make that work, feel free to reach out to our team. Information's down in the description below. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll help you kind of walk through, navigate through the math, and see if an assumable mortgage works for you as a buyer, or if you're a seller and you're thinking, this is something I could probably use. Let me call and find out if it works. Feel free, reach out to us, and we'll gladly help any way we can. We'll see you next video.